Okay, part 2 of season 1, episode 5 of The Wheel of Time. This one's called Blood Calls Blood. So we're back with Egwene and Perrin with the White Cloaks. The White Cloaks bathe Egwene for some reason and put her in white and then tie her to a chair. So don't know why. They make it very clear that they believe Aes Sedai are witches and they want to find out if Egwene is an Aes Sedai, and she's like, I can't channel, I can't do it. And then they also were torturing Perrin and like scratching his back with a knife and like, okay, so, and then he's like, he gets so annoyed where he's like, wants Egwene to call him Child Valda, and I'm like, ugh, so weird. And then I wrote down what Child Valda was saying because I wanted to remember it, and you can kind of see what the White Cloaks believe through this. And he says, humans are meant to be of this earth. They are meant to struggle and fight for everything that we have, and the Creator never meant for us to have access to so much power. So that's his thing. And then he says, you witches make a mockery of our existence, walking like gods amongst men. And then the idea that the one power comes from anywhere other than the dark is absurd. So I have been called to stomp it out, woman by woman by woman. So yeah. So Child Valda does not like power. He thinks that the Aes Sedai are gods among men, and that to be able to touch the one power, or I think he would even agree with the true power, he thinks it all comes from the dark. So I thought that what he was saying was interesting, and that just tells you what the White Cloaks believe. Okay, so now we skip back to the White Tower, and we see Nynaeve and Liandrin chatting, and it is established that the Reds hate men. They do not like men. And Liandrin says to Nynaeve, I wrote this down too, I write down the lines if they're good lines, okay? Not for any other reason than if it's just teaching you something or whatever. Okay. Okay, Liandrin says, women hold the one power, but men still control much of this world, and they are rarely kind to little girls who show a spark of being greater than they are. So I thought that was interesting and profound. So even though the women Aes Sedai have a lot of power and they pull the strings of the world from Tar Valon, men still have a lot of power in this world, Liandrin's saying. And I mean, men are still smacking women in this show. So yeah, there's that. Okay, we skip to Mat and Rand. Loial brings Nynaeve to Mat and Rand, and Mat is like full on possessed at this point. So he like snaps at Nynaeve and is like wants to like attack her or something. And Rand and Nynaeve are having a chat, and they're very weary about trusting the Aes Sedai. So they also decide to not tell Moiraine about Mat, even though they don't really know how to make Mat better. So they really should probably tell Moiraine, but they've agreed to not. And then Nynaeve tells a story of Egwene growing up, and Egwene had a really bad fever, breakbone fever, where I guess your like muscles tense up and stuff. I think it's a made up thing, unless it's real, but I think it's made up. And the old wisdom, so Nynaeve is witnessing this, working with the old wisdom. The old wisdom didn't know what to do, so she actually had made up like a tea to help Egwene die in some ways, like not kill her, but just make it easier to take away the pain, so then she could pass away, because Egwene was like close to dying. But the gist is that she ends up surviving. Okay, she wakes up the next day and the fever went away. Egwene refused to drink the tea thing, so then yeah, she woke up the next day and she survived. So Egwene is strong, and Nynaeve said, there's one thing I know about Egwene is she's unbreakable. So remember that, guys, she's unbreakable. I think there's a lot of people in this that are unbreakable. We go through a lot. Okay, back to Perrin and Egwene with the White Cloaks. So Perrin tells Egwene about how he killed his wife, with the axe. I believe it was an axe. He thought she was a Trolloc and he killed her. So, because the White Cloak guy, Valda, kind of gave them an ultimatum and was like, all right, only one of you is going to come out of here alive. And so who's it going to be? And then he leaves. And so then Perrin's like, it needs to be me to die because I killed my wife and this is what I deserve. And then Egwene is like, no, we can get out of this. So Egwene tries to channel, and then Perrin is summoning the wolves, I believe. I don't know if it's explicit, but it's implicitly stated, okay, that he's got some connection to the wolves. Oh yeah, so Egwene uses her weaves to untie Perrin, and then Perrin does something, I forget, and then Egwene stabs Valda. I think Valda's dead. I don't know. You don't really know until you see a dead body, okay? Alright, now we skip to Liandrin and Moiraine. So they meet in the hallway of Tar Valon, and it's been said Moiraine has been gone for 2 years, okay? Liandrin knows she's been gone for 2 years. And I wrote here, Moiraine always speaks like she has a secret. I think she does. She always speaks like she's got a little secret, especially in this first season. And I put Liandrin touches her face lovingly, ? How she like put her hair behind her. I was like, interesting. That's weird. But, you know, I assume they know each other very well. You know, they've been in the White Tower for years together, even though Moiraine's been gone. But they, right, these Aes Sedai grew up together. Like, we see how young, like, some of, like, Egwene is and stuff. And so, that they were pretty young when they all... Okay. But Liandrin reminds Moiraine that if Moraine's going to be flitting back and forth to the White Tower, as she does, and she's been doing for 20 years, that she won't have someone there to guide her. So Liandrin's saying, you need me to guide Nynaeve. And then they get into this whole thing of, like, Moiraine is like, but her first channeling was healing everybody, so she's probably going to be yellow. So the yellows are the healers, we learn. And Liandrin's like, yeah, you're right, the yellows will want her, but maybe I can get her to be red or whatever. And then, because Liandrin said, I wrote this quote down, there's a certain force of will Nynaeve cannot hide, a sense that the world would be better if everyone followed the rules, her rules. So, again, Liandrin, obviously everybody who saw Nynaeve heal everybody sees that Nynaeve is very powerful. And yeah, I mean, Liandrin makes good points here to Moiraine. She'll need someone to guide her, and she'll need someone powerful to guide her, you know? She's gonna have to become, like, an Aes Sedai, because no one walks into the White Tower with that much power and just doesn't become an Aes Sedai, because they're not gonna let her leave so easily. Okay. So we're back with Lan. Let me just put this in really quick, and then I'll do my next video. So Lan is with the warders. Lan is with the warders. And Steppen is doing some kind of thing to, like, ward off evil, it seems. Evil spirits. Lan says the Forsaken sold their souls to the Dark for eternal life. So we learn that the Forsaken are bad, and that they sold their souls to the Dark One for eternal life. Okay, we don't know who the Forsaken are yet. Even if the last one sealed them away, eternity is a long time. So we learn just that the Forsaken are sealed away somewhere, and that they will be alive forever. They're not going away, I guess. So that we just learned kind of a little bit more about that. And Ishamael is the father of lies, and that's who Steppen says that he's trying to ward off. So I just think some of this is going to be important, and we'll learn about it later. But we learn a little bit about the Forsaken here. Okay, so I'm going to pause, and we'll go to the next video. This was part 2 of episode 5, season 1, The Wheel of Time. All right, thank you, bye.